The first transmission arrived without warning. It contained no distress signal, no declaration of war, no diplomatic request. Only 12 seconds of silent video recovered from a reconnaissance drone that had crossed into a quarantine sector beyond the Perseus Rift. The footage began with static. Then a forest appeared. Towering black trees stretched toward a crimson sky where electrical storms rolled endlessly across the atmosphere. Every branch carried organisms that glowed like veins beneath translucent skin. Predators, larger than armored transports, moved almost invisibly beneath thick layers of vegetation, while the drone's radiation alarm screamed louder every second. The world had no official name anymore. Every galactic archive had deleted it. Every star chart marked it with the same warning. ****, Forbidden's Deathworld. Do not approach. The drone descended only another 23 meters before something impossible happened. Every living creature within visual range stopped moving. Predators, prey, flying organisms, burrowing insects. Even the violent electrical storm overhead seemed to hesitate. Thousands of pairs of eyes turned toward a single point hidden beyond the trees. The drone attempted to zoom. Instead, every onboard system failed simultaneously. Gravity sensors overloaded. Thermal scanners crashed. Artificial intelligence entered an unrecoverable error loop. Then, one enormous silhouette emerged from the forest, nearly 4 meters tall, wrapped in living black armor that shifted like liquid metal. Her crown resembled branching antlers formed from polished obsidian. No visible weapon, no visible escort. Yet every apex predator lowered itself to the ground, not out of fear, out of obedience. The final frame showed something that forced the Galactic Council to erase the recording from every classified database. The giant figure looked directly into the drone. She smiled. Then she spoke a language no translation system recognized. The recording ended. The drone was never recovered. 3 exploration fleets vanished over the following decade. Military task forces refused reassignment after reviewing the classified evidence. Entire civilizations voted unanimously to maintain permanent quarantine around the system. Among thousands of intelligent species, one name slowly became myth. The Deathworlder Queen. No official government admitted she existed. No historian accepted the surviving witness accounts, yet every military academy quietly taught the same lesson. If she was ever encountered, retreat. Immediately, because no empire had ever survived provoking whatever ruled that Forbidden's world. But history rarely remembers the first rule that was broken. It remembers the second. The day someone walked toward the Queen instead of away from her, and greeted her like an old friend. Long before the incident became legend, I served as Senior Cultural Observer Thalon of the 5th Xenological Survey Corps. For 38 standard years, I studied developing civilizations across the Orion frontier. I documented hive societies capable of sharing memories through genetic inheritance. I negotiated with silicon-based mathematicians who communicated only through gravitational harmonics. I spent 9 years embedded among aquatic philosophers who measured time by ocean currents instead of planetary rotation. Every assignment reinforced one universal truth: life adapts to comfort, remove danger. Reduce uncertainty, eliminate predators. Evolution rewards efficiency, not suffering, at least. That was what every university taught. Humanity destroyed that certainty. Officially, humans ranked as only a Class 3 emerging civilization. Unofficially, every restricted archive labeled them differently. Deathworld origin species. It was an academic classification few outside military intelligence truly understood. Most inhabited worlds earned ratings between Class 0 and Class 1, predictable climates, stable ecosystems, minimal geological instability, gravity gentle enough that skeletal reinforcement beyond basic evolution became unnecessary. Disease remained manageable. Atmospheric chemistry rarely fluctuated. Large predators disappeared early in civilization. Humanity had evolved somewhere completely different. Their cradle world violated nearly every standard for intelligent life. Extreme gravity, violent weather, constant tectonic instability, solar radiation cycles, aggressive microorganisms, poisonous flora, venomous fauna, mass extinctions, ice ages, supervolcanoes, meteor impacts, continents that refuse to remain still. Any single factor should have prevented intelligent civilization. Combined, they should have made intelligence impossible. Instead, humans emerged stronger, not despite the chaos, because of it. The Council originally believed this resilience would fade once humanity joined interstellar society. They expected comfort to soften them, luxury to civilize them, peace to erase millions of years of impossible adaptation. Instead, something else happened. The galaxy changed around humanity. Where other diplomats hesitated, humans volunteered. Where scientific expeditions refused hazardous environments, humans established research stations. When rescue missions entered collapsing stars, irradiated moons, or biologically contaminated planets, human crews consistently returned alive. Sometimes injured, often exhausted, never defeated. Statistical impossibility became routine. Military analysts quietly rewrote survival projections whenever humans participated. Insurance corporations refused to calculate human probability models because they consistently violated predictive mathematics. Entire industries emerged around one undeniable observation: humans survived situations that killed everyone else. No explanation satisfied the evidence. Some believed humans possessed hidden genetic engineering. Others suspected ancient precursor intervention. Religious movements declared humanity chosen by forgotten cosmic architects. The truth proved far stranger. Humans simply considered impossible environments normal. That realization frightened civilizations more than any weapon ever constructed. Because strength can be measured, technology can be copied. But an entire species shaped by relentless catastrophe? How do you prepare for people whose childhood resembles everyone else's apocalypse? Those questions eventually led us toward the quarantine system. Officially, our mission involved verifying old navigation records corrupted during the border collapse. Unofficially, we were hunting myths. 7 specialists traveled aboard the exploration vessel * Silent Horizon *, astrobiologists, military historians, artificial intelligence analysts, exolinguists, environmental specialists, and me, the cultural observer expected to determine whether the legendary Deathworlder Queen represented fabricated folklore born from frightened explorers. No one aboard genuinely expected success. The Queen belonged beside ghost stories and impossible civilizations, until our navigation computer detected something impossible: a beacon, ancient, human, still transmitting. Its signal had continued uninterrupted for nearly 900 standard years. Not a distress call, not a warning, a greeting, repeated endlessly into empty space. Most civilizations deactivate emergency infrastructure after decades. Humans had apparently built equipment intended to outlive empires. Captain Sarek ordered immediate silence throughout the vessel, no unnecessary communications. No active radar, no external emissions beyond passive observation. The quarantine existed for reasons none of us fully understood. No one wished to become another missing expedition. As we drifted toward the beacon source, our instruments became increasingly unreliable. Navigation shifted without explanation. Atomic clocks disagreed with one another. Quantum communication arrays reported impossible timestamps from futures that had not yet occurred. Even our shipboard AI began displaying hesitation behaviors never observed during previous deployments. "I recommend withdrawal," it announced quietly. Captain Sarek frowned. "Reason? I cannot identify the source? Unknown technology? No." The eye paused unusually long. "It feels familiar." Silence settled across the command deck. Artificial intelligences do not experience familiarity. They compare databases. They calculate probabilities. They do not speak emotionally. Yet ours sounded almost uneasy. Hours later, we entered orbit. Below us stretched one of the most violent biospheres ever recorded. Hurricane systems merged into continent-sized storms. Volcanic mountain ranges illuminated entire hemispheres. Massive organisms moved beneath forests dense enough to confuse orbital imaging. Life flourished where physics insisted it should fail. Then environmental control detected something even stranger. Human architecture. Ancient, intact, not ruins, occupied. The structure stood upon a cliff overlooking a valley filled with gigantic predators. Its design appeared almost laughably simple: stone walls, wooden roof, a small garden. Smoke drifting peacefully from a chimney, an ordinary house. On the most feared planet in explored space. Military intelligence immediately rejected the scan. No fortress, no defensive shield. No orbital weapons, nothing capable of explaining how anyone survived there. Captain Sarek whispered the question everyone feared asking. Who lives there? No sensor answered. No database recognized the settlement, yet someone tended the garden. Someone maintained the roof, someone kept the fire burning, and someone watched us. Because every external camera aboard Silent Horizon simultaneously focused toward the same location without receiving commands. Standing beside the little stone house was a single towering figure, black armor, obsidian crown, perfectly motionless, looking directly into orbit. Looking directly at us? No telescope should have resolved our position. No biological eye could possibly see through cloud layers and atmospheric distortion, yet none of us doubted she had. The Deathworlder Queen had known we were coming long before we arrived. No alarms sounded, no planetary defenses activated. She simply waited, as though the outcome had already been decided. As though we were late for an appointment made centuries earlier. Captain Sarek immediately ordered retreat preparations. Every officer agreed. Every scientific recommendation demanded withdrawal. Every survival protocol supported immediate evacuation. Then the impossible occurred. A shuttle launched automatically, unauthorized, ignoring every command override, descending peacefully toward the surface. Inside sat exactly one passenger, human, unarmed, calmly drinking coffee while reading an old paper notebook as if arriving for an afternoon visit. No identification matched any Terran registry, no military records existed, no immigration files, nothing. When Captain Sarek demanded his identity over emergency frequencies, the man simply smiled. I believe, he answered softly. She's been waiting a very long time. The shuttle continued descending toward the legendary Queen. None of us understood why. None of us knew who he truly was. But every instinct the first possessed told me we were no longer witnessing first contact. We were witnessing a reunion. And somewhere beneath the forests of that impossible death world, ancient human history was about to awaken. You're watching Deathworlders HFY Sci-Fi where humanity's impossible evolution becomes the galaxy's greatest fear. Now imagine this for yourself. If every civilization in the galaxy feared one human enough to quarantine an entire world, what kind of person would calmly walk up and greet her like an old friend? Would you trust the warnings of the galaxy or your own instincts? Share your theory in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this story with fellow science fiction fans who love dark, cinematic HFY adventures. Because in Part 2, we'll descend onto the forbidden Deathworld itself, uncover the forgotten origin of the Deathworlder Queen, and reveal why the mysterious human visitor may be the only person in the galaxy she refuses to kill. The world that refused to kill its children, no academy in the Galactic Union had ever prepared us for what happened after the shuttle crossed the cloud layer. Every simulation failed. Every predictive model collapsed. Every survival algorithm aboard the Silent Horizon began producing contradictory results until our navigation intelligence simply displayed one sentence across every tactical screen. Survival probability, undefined, not 0, not 1%, not statistically insignificant, undefined. Among the thousands of intelligent civilizations that filled explored space, that word had only appeared 4 times in recorded history. 3 had ended with extinction-level events. The 4th was unfolding beneath us. I stood motionless on the observation deck while the shuttle carrying the unidentified human descended through the atmosphere. Our orbital sensors tracked every meter, yet the closer it moved toward the surface, the less reality behaved according to accepted physics. Gravity should have accelerated the descent. Instead, the shuttle periodically slowed as though invisible currents were pushing upward through the atmosphere. Electromagnetic storms wrapped themselves around the hull without causing damage. Radiation spikes rose high enough to sterilize most known worlds, yet the human pilot never altered course. He continued sipping coffee. The absurd normality of that simple action disturbed me more than the storms themselves. Humans possessed an unsettling habit of treating impossible situations as routine. That alone explained why military psychologists struggled to profile them. Fear was not absent in humans. It was simply negotiated differently. The planet below had once carried a Terran designation. Archive fragments identified it only as Erebus 9***, one of dozens of classified colonial experiments abandoned before humanity officially joined the Galactic Assembly. No public record explained why. Every surviving document ended with identical authorization codes. Project Black Horizon Terran Survival Command The more information investigators attempted to recover, the more data disappeared. Entire historical databases contained deliberate gaps. Names had been erased, coordinates rewritten, witnesses reassigned. Someone had not merely classified the truth. Someone had buried it beneath centuries of misinformation. Our environmental specialists finally completed a full planetary analysis. The report silenced the command deck. Surface gravity measured nearly **3 times galactic standard ***. For comparison, most intelligent life evolved between 0.8 and 1.2 standard gravity. Anything above 1.5 generally prevented advanced tool use. Skeletal structures became too heavy, cardiovascular systems failed, energy requirements exceeded evolutionary efficiency, above 2.0. No intelligent civilization had ever naturally evolved until humanity. The realization forced me to revisit something I had always dismissed as exaggerated military folklore. Human children played on worlds like this. If Earth itself had forged impossible survivors, then Erebus 9 represented something worse. Not a cradle, a proving ground. Atmospheric chemistry proved equally hostile. Oxygen concentration fluctuated violently with seasonal storms. Microscopic fungal spores attacked exposed biological tissue within minutes. Trace neurotoxins drifted naturally through morning fog. Lightning discharged horizontally for hundreds of kilometers before striking the ground. Acidic rainfall alternated unpredictably with alkaline precipitation. Even our autonomous drones required constant shield recalibration simply to remain operational. And yet, near the stone house, flowers bloomed peacefully beside a wooden fence. Someone had cultivated a garden. Someone had deliberately introduced fragile life into the middle of planetary chaos. The contradiction fascinated me. Perhaps that was humanity's defining trait. Not conquering hostile worlds, teaching them how to grow something gentle. Our xenobiologists focused next on the local megafauna. They immediately abandoned conventional classification. Most ecosystems followed recognizable patterns. Predators occupied limited ecological niches. Prey evolved avoidance behaviors. Energy conservation dictated population balance. Nothing here obeyed those rules. One enormous creature resembled a six-legged mountain covered in armored vegetation. It consumed radioactive mineral deposits rather than organic food. Another species hunted by generating localized gravity distortions that crushed victims before physical contact. Winged organisms spanning nearly 40 meters glided through ionized storm clouds, feeding directly upon electrical discharges powerful enough to vaporize conventional aircraft. Beneath the forests moved something our sensors could never fully resolve. Not because it hid, because its biological structure continuously altered the wavelengths reflecting from its body. It effectively rewrote how observation itself functioned. Every scientific discipline aboard the Silent Horizon produced the same conclusion. Nothing about this biosphere should exist, yet it flourished. The Galactic Union maintained an extensive classification system for dangerous worlds. Deathworlds occupied the highest recognized category, but even among Deathworlds, distinctions mattered. Class 4 environments threatened unprepared explorers. Class 5 planets destroyed colonies through cumulative environmental stress. Class 6 worlds demanded military-grade infrastructure merely to establish research stations. Erebus 9 exceeded every recorded classification. Our computers simply generated a new designation. Asterisk asterisk Omega Deathworld asterisk asterisk unofficial, unprecedented, possibly unique. One of my colleagues whispered something none of us wished to hear. If humans built colonies here, he never finished. He did not need to. For centuries, alien science struggled to explain humanity's statistical anomalies. Probability models worked because biology obeyed predictable limitations. A species evolved within environmental boundaries. Remove those boundaries, performance stabilized. Humans violated every equation. Medical recovery rates exceeded expected outcomes. Psychological endurance ignored trauma projections. Improvisation routinely replaced technological superiority. Where another civilization required specialized equipment, humans modified available materials. Where logistics failed, humans adapted. Where mathematics predicted extinction, humans argued about whose turn it was to make dinner. The official explanation claimed evolutionary flexibility. Military intelligence preferred another theory. Humans had never truly left their death world behind. They carried it inside themselves. Every instinct, every reflex, every survival behavior. Millions of years spent negotiating with catastrophe had become cultural inheritance. Not genetic superiority, experience, repeated across countless generations. The shuttle landed. No explosion, no ambush, no defensive response. The Queen simply waited. She stood outside the stone house exactly as she had appeared from orbit. Around her, enormous predators gathered in respectful silence. None crossed an invisible boundary surrounding the home. The unidentified human stepped from the shuttle carrying only a weathered leather satchel. He smiled. She smiled. Then they embraced, not cautiously, not ceremonially. Like families separated for decades. Every officer aboard the Silent Horizon stared without speaking. Entire governments had quarantined this planet. Military doctrines demanded immediate retreat. Yet the being called the Deathworlder Queen welcomed one ordinary human with unmistakable affection. Nothing about the encounter resembled first contact. This was remembrance. Captain Sarek ordered every available sensor toward the house. The moment active scans intensified. Something awakened beneath the valley. Not biological, not geological, artificial. Power signatures erupted across the continent. Hidden structures buried kilometers beneath bedrock came alive one after another. Massive energy conduits activated. Quantum communication arrays emerged from underground vaults. Orbital camouflage fields flickered across mountain ranges. Entire facilities had remained invisible until now. Black site installations, ancient, human, waiting. One by one, encrypted transmitters began broadcasting, not toward nearby colonies, not toward galactic territory, farther, much farther, beyond explored space, beyond mapped civilization, into darkness. Our translation systems intercepted fragments greater than Terran Survival Network. Greater than protocol inheritance confirmed. Greater than Guardian acknowledged. Greater than waiting final authorization. Every message repeated identical encryption older than the Galactic Assembly itself. Older than humanity's public entrance into interstellar politics. Which meant only one thing, human. Civilization had concealed an entire parallel command structure for centuries, perhaps millennia. My fascination slowly displaced fear. Not because humans appeared less dangerous, because danger alone failed to explain them. Most species responded to hostile environments by building walls. Humans built homes. Most civilizations destroyed predators threatening settlements. Humans somehow convinced apex predators to coexist. Most governments erased painful history. Humans hid theirs. Those differences mattered. The galaxy had always described humanity as unpredictable. Perhaps the galaxy had simply misunderstood what it observed. Humans were not creatures seeking domination. They were survivors preparing for the day survival became necessary again. That possibility frightened me more than conquest. Prepared civilizations rarely revealed every weapon they possessed. Political archives returned to my thoughts. The Galactic Assembly had debated humanity's admission for nearly 70 years. Arguments filled thousands of volumes. Some senators advocated partnership. Others demanded permanent quarantine. Several military coalitions proposed limiting human expansion beyond designated sectors. One classified memorandum summarized the opposition perfectly. Asterisk, if humanity treats impossible conditions as ordinary, then ordinary deterrence cannot influence human decision-making. Asterisk, another delegate had answered with remarkable honesty. Asterisk, our concern is not that humans are violent. Our concern is that they continue functioning after every species would have surrendered. Asterisk, fear had become policy. Containment disguised itself as diplomacy. Trade restrictions, navigation limitations, observation treaties, all justified as maintaining galactic stability. Yet watching that peaceful meeting below, I began wondering whether the Assembly feared humanity because it truly understood them, or because it never had. Hours passed. Neither human nor queen entered the house. Instead, they sat upon a wooden bench overlooking the valley, talking, laughing, remembering. Meanwhile, buried installations continued activating beneath the planet. New transmissions spread outward through deep space. Each signal triggered another, like dominoes falling across the galaxy. Someone, or something, was listening. Our communications officer suddenly shouted, "We've intercepted another channel." Audio flooded the command deck. At first it sounded like meaningless static. Then patterns emerged, human voices, thousands of them. Recorded across centuries, military reports, personal journals, emergency broadcasts, children laughing, scientists debating, families celebrating birthdays, final messages from explorers who never returned. Every recording ended identically. Asterisk, protocol evergreen remains active. Asterisk, evergreen. No database recognized the phrase. Yet every classified transmission referenced it, not as a location, not as a weapon, as an obligation. I finally understood the feeling growing inside me. It was not fear, not anymore. It was the terrifying realization that history itself contained missing chapters. Everything the galaxy believed about humanity had been built upon incomplete evidence. We had studied ambassadors, while soldiers remained hidden. We had negotiated with politicians, while guardians watched from forgotten worlds. We believed humanity had only recently become a major interstellar civilization. But the evidence accumulating beneath Erebus 9 suggested another possibility. Humanity had already prepared for a war, long before anyone else knew one was coming. Then the greatest discovery of my career appeared. A geological survey. Drone accidentally penetrated beneath the valley floor after a minor tectonic fracture opened during one of the planet's constant earthquakes. Instead of magma, the drone found metal. Not scattered ruins, not isolated machinery. An entire underground megastructure, perfectly preserved, stretching farther than our sensors could map cities, shipyards, laboratories, cryogenic vaults, manufacturing complexes, training facilities, all hidden beneath kilometers of solid rock. Artificial intelligence estimated construction dates. The calculations froze every system aboard the Silent Horizon asterisk. The complex predated humanity's official faster-than-light age. Impossible. According to every accepted historical record, humans should not have possessed technology capable of building anything remotely comparable. Yet here it stood, silent, waiting, as if history itself had lied. Then another encrypted transmission reached our receivers. Unlike the others, this one carried no corruption, only 6 words. Asterisk, the last ark is awakening. Stand by. Asterisk, no sender, no destination. Only certainty. At that exact moment, the mountain beneath the Deathworlder Queen trembled, not from tectonic instability, from machinery. Ancient engines that had slept for thousands of years were beginning to move. and every belief the galaxy held about humanity was about to collapse. The planet was watching. The first casualty came without violence. No explosion echoed across the valley. No monstrous predator leaped from the forest. No hidden weapon fired from beneath the mountains. Lieutenant Varric simply disappeared. One moment, he was standing inside Observation Bay 3, monitoring the awakening underground complex through quantum imaging arrays. The next, every camera on the deck captured the same impossible event. His outline blurred. The air around him shimmered like heat rising from stone. His heartbeat vanished from the medical network. His identification signal continued broadcasting for another 3 seconds, then it stopped. Nothing remained except an empty pair of magnetic boots still bolted to the deck. No blood, no biological residue, no trace of teleportation. The space where he had stood behaved as though he had never existed. The ship's artificial intelligence immediately locked down every corridor. No explanation followed. Only another mystery. Captain Sarek refused to announce the disappearance publicly. Panic aboard an isolated expedition often proved deadlier than any external threat, yet rumors spread faster than official reports. Crew members whispered about dimensional anomalies. Others blamed the Deathworlder Queen. Several insisted the underground megastructure had somehow reached into orbit. None of those theories explained why every internal security camera briefly displayed a single line of Terran text before returning to normal. ***, you were warned not to look. No translator aboard the * Silent Horizon * had requested that message. Someone or something had inserted it directly into our systems. And that meant we were no longer simply observing the planet. The planet was observing us. Against every recommendation, Captain, Sarek authorized a reconnaissance team. We need evidence, he insisted. We already have evidence, I answered quietly. We need understanding. Looking back, that distinction nearly killed us. The shuttle descended through another electrical storm, carrying 6 specialists protected by the most advanced environmental suits in galactic service. Every suit exceeded military survival standards: adaptive radiation shielding, reactive atmospheric filtration, gravitational compensation systems, self-healing polymer armor, equipment specifically engineered for impossible worlds. Human records later described those suits with one devastating phrase: *suitable for beginners. The moment the landing gear touched soil, our instruments became unreliable again. Surface gravity fluctuated unpredictably, not dramatically, only enough to disrupt balance. One step weighed normally. The next felt like carrying an armored vehicle, then everything returned to expected values. Our physicists could not explain the variation. The human walking toward the Queen never even slowed down. He crossed the same terrain as though nothing unusual existed. Either he ignored the changes, or he knew where they would occur. Both possibilities unsettled me. I volunteered to accompany the landing party. Every rational instinct argued against it. Every scientific instinct demanded it. Fear had slowly transformed into curiosity so profound that retreat now felt impossible. Perhaps this was humanity's greatest infection. Not aggression, wonder. The air struck first. Even through sealed helmets, atmospheric pressure felt oppressive. Each breath required measurable effort. Tiny mineral particles drifted through sunlight like glittering ash. Radiation alarms pulsed continuously. Ground vibrations never completely stopped. The planet breathed beneath our feet. Not metaphorically, literally. Every 21 seconds the crust expanded by microscopic amounts before contracting again, a living geological rhythm. The world possessed a heartbeat. Then we noticed the footprints, human, hundreds of them, some fresh, others weathered beyond recognition. They traveled in every direction across the valley, toward forests, toward mountains, toward rivers filled with organisms larger than naval destroyers. Children's footprints mixed with adult tracks. Someone had lived here, families, generations. This had never been a lonely outpost. It had been a community. That realization changed everything. Our expedition biologist knelt beside an enormous claw print impressed into volcanic stone. The creature responsible must have weighed hundreds of tons. Yet the surrounding human footprints showed no sign of panic. No running, no evasive movement, simply ordinary walking. As though neighbors passed each other every morning. The implication disturbed us all. Either humans had domesticated creatures beyond imagination, or the predators recognized something about humans that prevented attacks. Neither explanation fit accepted evolutionary theory. We reached the wooden fence surrounding the stone house shortly after local sunrise. The Queen remained seated beside the unidentified human. Neither acknowledged our approach, not out of hostility, out of certainty. They already knew precisely where every member of our team stood. One glance confirmed it. The massive predators scattered throughout the valley never watched us directly. Instead, they watched the Queen, waiting, listening, responding to movements too subtle for our perception. The food chain here possessed a hierarchy unlike anything known elsewhere, and humans occupied a place within it. Without warning, one of our drones lifted off autonomously. No operator issued commands. Its cameras rotated toward the forest, then the speaker activated. A young human girl's voice emerged. Calm, clear, perhaps 8 years old. "If you're hearing this," she paused, "you're standing somewhere my dad told me never to bring visitors," Static interrupted. Then another sentence. "If Mom hasn't come back yet," another burst of interference. "Don't wake the mountain." The drone shut itself down forever. None of us spoke. The recording carried emotional warmth impossible to fabricate. Someone had left messages. Not for soldiers, for strangers. Long after she herself had disappeared. Captain Sarek ordered immediate extraction. No one argued. Something about hearing an ordinary child's voice amid such overwhelming danger made the planet feel infinitely older. And infinitely sadder. Then the ground changed its mind. The path we had followed only minutes earlier no longer existed. Stone ridges rose from beneath the soil. Trees shifted positions. Entire sections of forest silently rearranged themselves, not quickly, not dramatically. Gradually enough that one questioned memory rather than reality. Navigation satellites insisted we stood exactly where we had landed. Visual observation disagreed completely. The terrain itself adapted. The unidentified human finally stood. He looked toward us with an expression closer to sympathy than amusement. "You should leave." Captain Sarek stepped forward. "Who are you?" The human smiled. "I asked first. We require answers. So does the galaxy." Silence followed. Then he added softly, "Unfortunately," he glanced toward the awakening mountain. "The mountain answers differently." The earthquake began. Not violent, deliberate. Massive stone formations rotated beneath the valley. Ancient pathways emerged from beneath moss-covered cliffs. Metal towers extended upward from hidden shafts. Each carried symbols matching the mysterious protocol evergreen transmissions. Power flowed through structures that had supposedly remained dormant for thousands of years. Something enormous beneath us had completed another phase of awakening. High above, aboard the Silent Horizon emergency alarms erupted. Our orbital sensors detected hundreds of objects leaving. Concealed silos scattered across the continent. Not missiles, satellites, thousands of them. Ancient human satellites climbed silently into orbit, surrounding the planet in perfectly synchronized formations. None carried visible weapons. Their purpose proved stranger. Each satellite turned its sensors toward deep space, not toward us, watching, waiting, searching, for what? No one knew. Then every communication channel aboard both shuttle and starship received identical coordinates. No sender identification, only numbers, thousands of them. Each marking another hidden human installation across the galaxy. Dozens, hundreds, eventually thousands. Project Black Horizon had never been isolated. It had been one node inside an unimaginably vast network. Every location shared identical status. Standby. Our communications officer screamed through the emergency channel. They're inside our archives. Entire databases began rewriting themselves. Restricted Terran history appeared where empty files had existed before, expunged military campaigns. Colonization records, engineering logs, survival manuals. Every recovered document carried one warning. Asterisk, asterisk, do not activate all guardians simultaneously. Asterisk, asterisk, no explanation. Only consequences implied by the wording, guardians, plural. The Queen was not unique. Movement surrounded us. Not predators, machines, humanoid figures slowly emerged from beneath layers of earth and vegetation. Their armor resembled weathered stone. Roots had grown across their shoulders. Small trees sprouted from cracked plating. They had stood motionless for so long that forests had grown around them. Autonomous defense constructs, ancient, silent, each measured nearly 3 meters tall, none pointed weapons, none advanced. They simply watched, exactly 12 of them. One for every direction surrounding the house. The stone cottage had never been undefended. It had merely hidden its defenders well. One construct suddenly tilted its head, blue light illuminated eyes dark for centuries. Its voice echoed across the valley. Identity verification requested. Captain Sarek attempted diplomatic protocol. We represent the Galactic Assembly. No response. I am Captain Sarek. Silence. We come peacefully. Nothing. Then the construct addressed the unidentified human instead. Guardian Elias. Verification accepted. Welcome home. The name struck him emotionally. He lowered his eyes for the first time. It has been a while, the machine answered with unmistakable warmth. 317 years. Every member of our expedition froze. Humans did not live 3 centuries. Yet neither Elias nor the machine questioned the statement. Another beacon activated somewhere beyond the mountains, then another. Then another. One after another, columns of blue light pierced the storm-filled sky. Hundreds, their pulses synchronized into mathematical rhythms. The signals spread outward through space, across neighboring systems. Far beyond known borders, each beacon awakened another. The galaxy itself seemed to ripple with forgotten echoes. Our translator software suddenly displayed an ancient emergency code recovered from one of the transmissions. Asterisk, asterisk, survival doctrine omega asterisk, asterisk, if the beacons awaken asterisk, asterisk, the remaining text had been corrupted. Only a final sentence survived. Asterisk, asterisk, humanity must remember why it hid. Asterisk, asterisk, not why it conquered, not why it expanded, why it hid. That distinction filled me with growing dread. Captain Sarek quietly asked the question none of us wished answered. What frightened humans enough to build all of this? No one responded. Not even Elias. His silence revealed more than words ever could. Then the valley became unnaturally quiet. The predators stopped moving. The storms paused overhead. Even the constant tectonic vibrations beneath our boots faded into absolute stillness. The Deathworld itself was listening. The Queen slowly turned toward the forest. Elias did the same. Every autonomous guardian knelt, not before us, not before the Queen, before something approaching through the trees. Something none of the sensors could identify, branches bent without breaking. The air itself shimmered. Footsteps echoed with impossible precision. 1, 2, 3. A silhouette emerged between the ancient black trunks. Human in shape, impossible in presence. Neither machine nor flesh. Its eyes glowed with the same blue light as every awakened beacon across the galaxy. Then it spoke a single sentence that made even the Deathworlder Queen lower her head. Protocol Evergreen acknowledges all survivors. And for the first time since arriving on Erebus -9, I realized we were about to meet the intelligence that had been quietly guiding humanity from the shadows for thousands of years. The burden humanity chose to carry no one moved. Not because we had been ordered to remain still, because every instinct born from millions of years of evolution recognized a truth before conscious thought could explain it. Something far older than the Galactic Assembly had just entered the valley. The storms remained frozen above us. The colossal predators refused to breathe loudly. Even the constant seismic pulse beneath Erebus 9 slowed until the entire world seemed suspended between one heartbeat and the next. For the first time since arriving on the Forbidden Deathworld, silence became louder than sound. And within that silence, I finally began to understand myself. My name was **Thalon***, Senior Cultural Observer of the 5th Sinological Survey Corps. Among my own people, the **Velari*** violence was considered an evolutionary embarrassment. Long before discovering faster-than-light travel, our ancestors had eliminated predators from our homeworld through ecological engineering rather than warfare. Competition became cooperation. Aggression became negotiation. Entire generations were raised believing survival should never require brutality. To the Velari, civilization represented the gradual removal of fear. Children learned diplomacy before mathematics. History celebrated philosophers more often than generals. Every social institution rewarded patience, empathy, and compromise. For nearly 600 generations, our greatest military campaign had involved preventing a resource dispute without firing a single weapon. We were proud of that history, until we met humanity. Nothing in Velari philosophy prepared us for a species that had survived not by escaping danger, but by adapting to it. When the first entered the Xenological Academy, humans were presented as an academic curiosity. Observe objectively, our instructors advised. Do not anthropomorphize them. They evolved differently. Different. Such an innocent word. It concealed impossible truths. The first time I interviewed a human mining engineer, I asked how his colony endured such hazardous tectonic activity. He smiled. We built flexible houses, not orbital shields, not planetary stabilizers. Flexible houses? The simplicity haunted me for years. Humans rarely sought to eliminate hardship. They learned to live with it. Perhaps that was why I became obsessed with studying them. Every expedition overturned another certainty I had inherited from my civilization. Where my people sought equilibrium, humans expected instability. Where we avoided uncertainty, they planned for it. Where we designed perfect systems, humans designed systems that continued functioning after perfection failed. I admired that adaptability. I feared it as well, because adaptation has no obvious limit. A species capable of surviving one impossible environment might eventually survive any environment, including war, including extinction, including history itself. That possibility lingered inside every classified galactic discussion concerning humanity. Officially, the Assembly welcomed humans as equals. Unofficially, entire fleets quietly monitored Terran expansion. Not because humans threatened invasion, because no one knew where human resilience ended. Standing before the ancient construct that had called Elias by name, I finally recognized my greatest weakness. It was not cowardice, nor excessive curiosity. It was hope. Despite everything we had witnessed, part of me desperately wanted humanity to remain understandable. I wanted scientific explanations, predictable motivations, ordinary history. Because if humans truly possessed secrets older than the Galactic Assembly itself, then the civilization we believed we understood had never actually existed. We had merely met its public face. Across the valley, Elias remained motionless. Beside the Deathworlder Queen, the affection between them still unsettled every observer. It contradicted centuries of propaganda portraying her as an unstoppable executioner. Instead, I saw exhaustion, ancient sorrow, the posture of someone who had watched too many civilizations rise and disappear. The galaxy feared her because survivors often resemble monsters to those who never witnessed the catastrophe they survived. That realization altered something inside me. Perhaps every legend exaggerates the weapon while forgetting the wound. The figure surrounded by blue light finally spoke again. Its voice carried neither emotion nor indifference. It sounded like memory itself. "You seek the truth," Captain Sarek answered cautiously. "We seek understanding. Understanding requires context." The construct paused. "And context requires sacrifice." None of us liked that sentence. For the first time since our arrival, the Deathworlder Queen addressed us directly. "You believe this world made humanity stronger." Her voice flowed calmly through the valley. "It did not." Another long silence followed. "It merely revealed who we already were." No one interrupted. Even our recording system seemed reluctant to disturb her words. Commander Jorvik, leader of our security contingent, finally stepped forward. Unlike Captain Sarek, Jorvik distrusted humanity completely. His people, the Karun, had fought territorial wars for nearly their entire recorded history. Strength determined legitimacy. Weakness invited conquest. To him, every hidden Terran installation confirmed the worst military suspicions. "This is an armed fortress," he declared. "You concealed strategic assets from the assembly." Elias nodded once. Yes, no denial. No excuse, no apology. The simplicity infuriated Jorvik. "You deceived the galaxy." "No," Elias answered almost sadly. "We protected it." Those 4 words divided our expedition more effectively than any weapon. The scientists exchanged uncertain glances. Several believed him. The military officers did not. Communications specialists demanded immediate withdrawal. The xenobiologists wanted permission to continue studying the ecosystem. Medical personnel quietly prepared emergency evacuation procedures. Fear and fascination pulled our team apart. Every conversation became an argument. Every new discovery strengthened opposite conclusions. Some saw humanity preparing conquest. Others saw humanity preparing defense. The evidence supported both. Captain Sarek requested honesty. If humanity possesses this level of technology, he looked toward the awakening mountain, why hide? Elias stared into the distance. Because power changes the question civilizations ask. What does that mean? When others believe you're stronger than they are? He smiled faintly. They eventually ask whether they should destroy you before you become stronger still. No one answered. History contained countless examples proving him correct. The luminous construct activated another ancient display. Not holograms. Recorded memories. Scenes appeared across the valley itself. Living history. We watched primitive humans crossing frozen continents beneath relentless storms. Children carrying younger siblings through blizzards. Communities rebuilding after earthquakes. Families planting crops in volcanic ash. Doctors treating impossible diseases with limited tools. Explorers sailing oceans they knew could kill them. Generation after generation. Century after century. Always rebuilding, always adapting. Always continuing. Then the memories changed. Human laboratories appeared. Not modern facilities. Ancient ones. Older than interstellar civilization. Scientists debated something that immediately chilled every member of our team. Earth itself. Not preserving it. Improving it. One researcher spoke words preserved across thousands of years. If evolution created us through catastrophe, another completed the sentence. Then catastrophe remains our greatest teacher. My breathing slowed. Surely, no, the recordings continued. Gravity enhancement experiments, atmospheric modification programs, genetic resilience studies, extreme environment adaptation. Everything pointed toward one impossible conclusion. Humanity had not merely survived Deathworlds. At some point in its forgotten history, humanity had deliberately created new ones. Commander Jorvik recoiled in disbelief. You engineered this planet, the Queen answered softly. We refined it. Another impossible sentence. She walked toward the valley overlooking forests and storms. When our ancestors reached the stars, she looked across the violent horizon. They feared comfort. None of us understood. She continued. They feared that peace would slowly erase everything hardship had taught. Every word struck harder than the last. So they built places where humanity would always remember. Not prisons. Not weapons testing grounds, schools, deathworlds, designed to preserve resilience. I struggled to reconcile what I was hearing. Every civilization I had studied sought easier lives as technology advanced. Humans had apparently reached the opposite conclusion. They believed excessive safety weakened civilization. Not morally, biologically, psychologically, culturally, whether they were right no longer mattered. They had acted upon that belief. Entire worlds became living academies dedicated to survival. The luminous construct finally identified itself. I am Sentinel-7. Its blue eyes brightened. I administer the Evergreen Doctrine. Doctrine, not government. Not military, something older. Captain Sarek spoke carefully. What is the Evergreen Doctrine? The construct answered without hesitation. Ensure humanity survives every future. At what cost? Any. The valley grew silent again. There it was, the antagonist we had been sensing since our arrival, not an emperor, not a dictator, not a rogue artificial intelligence, a philosophy, an ancient Terran directive, protect humanity at any cost. No expiration date, no political oversight, no compromise. Sentinel-7 continued. Our creators studied probability. Images appeared again, future projections, civilizations collapsing, stars dying, artificial intelligences rebelling, cosmic impacts, interstellar plagues, vacuum decay scenarios, threats beyond imagination. Most species optimize for prosperity. The Sentinel watched us carefully. Humanity optimized for continuity. Another devastating distinction. Prosperity ends, continuity survives. Commander Jorvik raised his weapon. This doctrine threatens every civilization. 12 autonomous guardians instantly focused upon him. No weapons emerged, no hostile movement. Yet every instinct warned us that one mistake would end the expedition. Captain Sarek slowly lowered Jorvak's rifle. Not here, the Karun commander reluctantly obeyed. But the division within our team had become irreversible. I looked again toward the Queen. For centuries she had been portrayed as the galaxy's greatest monster. Now I saw someone carrying an unbearable responsibility. Imagine watching generation after generation willingly endure impossible worlds simply because someone believed future humanity might someday need those lessons. Was that wisdom? Madness? Love? Cruelty? Perhaps all four. Humans had become impossible to classify because they embodied contradictions no other civilization tolerated, builders who prepared for collapse, scientists who embraced danger, warriors who planted gardens, monsters who preserved children, miracles born from relentless suffering. Captain Sarek quietly approached me. You've studied humans longer than anyone aboard. Yes. Do you trust them? The question lingered. Did I? I trusted their sincerity. I doubted their methods. I admired their courage. I feared their determination. Most disturbing of all, I believed they genuinely thought they were protecting everyone else. History proved that civilizations convinced of their own necessity often committed terrible acts for noble reasons. Could humanity avoid that fate? I no longer knew. Sentinel-7 interrupted my thoughts. You have reached a decision point, Observer Thalon. I have? You may depart? The ancient intelligence gestured toward our shuttle. You have already seen enough to justify fear. Then it looked toward the mountain, where ancient engines continued awakening beneath kilometers of stone. Or you may remain? What happens if we stay? The Queen answered before the Sentinel could. You learn why the galaxy was? Never the danger. Cold certainty settled across the valley. Every story we believed was beginning to reverse itself. Perhaps humanity had never hidden from the galaxy. Perhaps humanity had been standing watch against something the galaxy had forgotten, something the Evergreen Doctrine still remembered. Captain Sarek announced that any volunteer could withdraw immediately. No judgment, no consequences. Half the team stepped toward the shuttle, the other half hesitated. I looked once toward the stars above Erebus 9, toward the comfortable civilization that had shaped my beliefs. Then I looked back at the impossible world beneath my feet. At the Queen, at Elias, at Sentinel-7, at the ancient mountain that was still waking. Every rational instinct demanded retreat. Every question that had defined my entire career demanded the opposite. Fear remained. It always would. But curiosity had become stronger. I took one step away from the shuttle, then another. Finally, I stood, beside the humans. I'll continue. Captain Sarek closed his eyes briefly, as though mourning a decision he understood but wished I had never made. Behind us, deep beneath the mountain, something unimaginably vast completed another stage of its awakening, and for reasons I could not yet explain. It sounded almost relieved that I had chosen to stay. The signal that woke the galaxy, the First Fleet, arrived exactly 9 minutes after the mountain began to awaken. Not because it had traveled faster than physics allowed, because it had already been waiting beyond the outer edge of the system, hidden, watching, preparing, for the possibility that every classified nightmare surrounding Erebus 9 might one day become reality. Our long-range sensors detected gravitational distortions before visual confirmation. One by one, enormous warships emerged from folded space beyond the system's gas giant. Then another formation appeared, and another. Within minutes, more than 300 military vessels representing 7 different galactic powers surrounded the quarantine boundary. None crossed it. Not yet. Every civilization feared the forbidden Deathworld. None trusted another civilization to face it alone. Emergency communications overwhelmed every frequency. The calm voice of the Galactic Assembly's Strategic Coordination Network echoed through orbit. All unauthorized personnel are ordered to withdraw immediately. A second transmission interrupted. This one belonged to the Karun Defense Coalition. Planetary contamination confirmed? Another voice? The Hishari Diplomatic Authority. Maintain observation only. Then a fourth, cold, emotionless, military, Omega containment protocol under consideration. Every government had prepared a different response. None agreed. The galaxy's greatest alliance was beginning to fracture before the first shot had even been fired. Captain Sarek's expression darkened. I've seen this before. I looked toward him. Where? He stared through the observation window toward the growing fleet. History. He did not elaborate. He did not need to. Fear had always been civilization's fastest weapon. Within the Assembly's orbital command ship, emergency debate commenced before representatives could even take their seats. Every senator received the same classified footage. The Deathworlder Queen, Sentinel-7, the Awakening Mountain, ancient Terran infrastructure, Protocol Evergreen. For decades, humanity's allies had dismissed such stories as paranoid mythology. Now mythology stood beneath an alien sky. Very real, very awake. The debate lasted only 6 minutes before voices dissolved into shouting. The installations must be destroyed. No one knows what they contain. If humanity concealed this network, what else have they hidden? We cannot allow another species to possess strategic superiority, others argued with equal conviction. Destroying unknown technology could trigger extinction. The humans have not attacked. We are reacting to fear rather than evidence. The Queen has shown restraint. Restraint, a fascinating word. History often judged restraint only after provoking those who practiced it. Far below, on Arogos 9, none of us received the luxury of political argument. The planet itself had begun changing. The forests no longer resembled forests. Gigantic root systems slowly emerged from beneath volcanic stone, weaving together like living neural pathways. Entire mountains subtly shifted position. Rivers altered course. The ecosystem behaved less like independent life, and more like interconnected biology. Sentinel-7 watched the transformations without surprise. It remembers. Captain Sarek frowned. What remembers? The world. I had spent decades studying alien civilizations. Never once had I considered the possibility that a planet itself could retain memory. Sentinel-7 knelt, placing one hand against the ground. Blue light spread outward beneath the soil. Every ecosystem stores information. He looked toward me. Humans simply learned to write using biology. Our scientific instruments confirmed the impossible. The vegetation surrounding the valley shared synchronized electrical activity. Not random, organized. Tree roots exchanged information across hundreds of kilometers. Fungal networks processed environmental changes faster than quantum computers aboard our ship. Gigantic. Organisms beneath the crust functioned like biological energy reactors. The Deathworld had become a planetary archive. Every storm, every extinction, every human footstep, recorded, preserved, remembered. Commander Jorvik refused to accept the implications. This is a weapon. No, the Queen answered quietly. It is a promise. Sentinel-7 activated another ancient projection. This time it showed humanity's forgotten age of expansion. Not conquest, preparation. Thousands of colony ships scattered across impossible regions of space. Frozen worlds, radioactive systems, planets circling unstable stars. Extreme gravity wells. Every location shared one characteristic. Conventional civilizations would never choose to settle there. Humans did. Not because they lacked better options, Because they intended something far larger than colonization. The projection zoomed outward, stars connected by faint blue lines. At first they resembled trade routes. Then communication, networks. Finally, a pattern emerged. Every Deathworld colony occupied mathematically precise positions throughout the galaxy. Together they formed a lattice spanning tens of thousands of light years. Not random settlement, infrastructure, one immense survival system, Captain Sarek whispered. They seeded the galaxy. Sentinel-7 nodded once. Correct. Why? To ensure life would continue? The answer seemed incomplete. I knew it. He knew it. Everyone present understood another truth remained hidden. Continue after what? The Sentinel answered before anyone asked. After extinction. Silence. Absolute. Even the storms overhead seemed reluctant to interrupt those two words. Ishin recordings appeared around us, human. Scientists speaking urgently. Not frightened. Determined. One elderly researcher addressed an unseen audience. We have modeled the probability curves. Another adjusted a holographic star map. They all converge, someone else asked quietly. How long? The response chilled every living being present. We cannot predict, then another voice. But it will happen. The recording ended before identifying the catastrophe. No date, no enemy. Only certainty that something eventually threatened all intelligent life. Humanity had believed it enough to redesign civilization itself. Above the atmosphere, panic spread through the arriving fleets. Their sensor arrays now detected thousands of hidden structures, awakening beneath neighboring systems. Not because those worlds suddenly changed. Because ancient transmitters had begun answering Erebus 9, one beacon, then another. Soon hundreds. Across sectors separated by centuries of travel, every forgotten Terran installation acknowledged the same signal. Protocol Evergreen. Standing by. Admiral Kesh of the Assembly Fleet immediately transmitted emergency orders. Disable every human beacon. No response came from the engineering vessels assigned to the mission. Instead, terrified officers reported impossible data. We can't target them. Why not? They don't exist. Every sensor located the structures. Every visual telescope confirmed them. Yet targeting computers behaved as though nothing occupied those coordinates. Human technology had somehow learned to hide not from observation, but from hostile intention. Within hours, fear evolved into accusation. News spread beyond military channels. Civilian networks erupted. Had humans deceived the galaxy? Had the Assembly ignored warning signs? Should every Terran colony be quarantined? Political alliances fractured almost instantly. Entire. Governments suspended diplomatic agreements pending investigation. Some demanded immediate negotiations with Earth. Others demanded preemptive strikes before more hidden installations awakened. The galaxy no longer debated humanity's character. It debated humanity's existence. Then came the first irreversible mistake. A Korun battle group ignored containment orders. Without Assembly approval, 6 cruisers advanced toward the planetary boundary. Official justification claimed defensive reconnaissance. Everyone understood the truth. They intended to test humanity's response. Commander Jorvik watched from the surface in horrified silence. My people... He stopped speaking. He already knew what was about to happen. The battle group crossed the quarantine line. Nothing fired, no missiles, no energy weapons, no orbital defenses. For exactly 14 seconds, nothing happened. Several admirals immediately concluded the warnings had been exaggerated. Then the stars disappeared. Not physically, perceptually. Space itself seemed to darken around the 6 ships. Every sensor aboard the Asterisk Silent Horizon Asterisk registered impossible gravitational harmonics. The vessels simply stopped. Their engines continued functioning, weapons remained active, communications worked. Yet they could no longer move forward or backward. Time flowed normally inside the ships. Outside, reality disagreed. Sentinel-7 closed his eyes. They ignored the boundary. Captain Sarek looked horrified. Can you help them? I can, then do it. The Sentinel answered with unmistakable sadness. They must first understand why the boundary exists. The immobilized fleet transmitted desperate messages. No damage. No casualties. Only complete imprisonment inside invisible physics. Then something emerged from beneath the atmosphere. Not warships, satellites, thousands of them. Ancient Terran satellites formed a perfect sphere surrounding the trapped vessels. No weapons deployed. Instead, every screen aboard every Karun ship displayed the same sentence. Asterisk, asterisk, survival requires patience. Asterisk, asterisk, then nothing else. Elsewhere on Erebus 9, consequences unfolded more violently. The Awakening. Planetary systems disturbed, ecological balances dormant for centuries. Volcanic chains erupted. Not catastrophically, purposefully. New land rose from ancient seas. Massive creatures migrated toward regions untouched for generations. Entire forests folded inward, revealing metallic corridors hidden beneath roots older than civilization. The Deathworld was reorganizing itself, not collapsing, preparing. Our expedition suffered again. This time the casualties came from curiosity. 2 xenobiologists ignored Sentinel-7's warnings and entered one of the newly revealed corridors. They hoped to recover historical artifacts before military authorities arrived. Neither returned. Search drones found only abandoned equipment. Their footprints continued for nearly 2 kilometers, then simply ended. No bodies, no struggle. Only another ancient warning carved into polished black metal. Asterisk, asterisk, only the prepared may proceed, asterisk, asterisk. Captain Sarek ordered all exploration suspended. No one protested. The planet no longer resembled an archaeological site. It had become an active installation. Then came the discovery that expanded everything beyond humanity. Sentinel-7 projected another stellar map. Thousands of blue points illuminated known human worlds. Expected. Then green lights appeared. Unknown civilizations. Ancient allies. Hidden refuges, species absent from every galactic census. Hundreds of them. Protected, preserved, waiting. The Evergreen Doctrine had never guarded humanity alone. It had quietly sheltered entire civilizations believed extinct. The Queen spoke with quiet pride. When a species faced annihilation, she looked across the impossible valley. We offered them a choice. Fight? I asked. No, she smiled gently. Endure. My entire understanding of galactic history fractured. Mass extinctions, lost civilizations, mysterious disappearances. Entire cultures erased from official records. What if they had never vanished? What if humanity had hidden them, not as prisoners, as seeds waiting for a safer age? Before anyone could absorb the revelation, every beacon across the galaxy changed frequency simultaneously. The new transmission reached every fleet. Every government, every civilian receiver, every hidden installation, every surviving Terran colony. One message, simple, ancient, undeniably human. Asterisk, asterisk, arc network synchronized. Asterisk, asterisk, a pause followed. Then the second line appeared. Asterisk, asterisk, confirming survivor populations. Asterisk, asterisk, the list began scrolling. Thousands of locations. Millions of signatures, not historical archives, live confirmations. Living humans. Far more than anyone believed existed beyond known space. The final line appeared only after several long seconds. It transformed fear into something much greater. Asterisk, asterisk, secondary civilizations accounted for. Asterisk, asterisk, humanity had never been alone. They never intended to be. And somewhere beyond the edge of map space, entire nations protected in secret since forgotten ages had just answered humanity's call. No fleet opened fire. That decision alone altered the course of galactic history. For nearly 3 hours, thousands of warships remained suspended beyond the quarantine boundary surrounding Erebus 9. Weapons stayed charged. Targeting systems tracked every awakened installation. Admirals waited for the command that many believed was inevitable. It never came. Not because fear had disappeared, because certainty had. Everything the galaxy believed about humanity had fractured within a single day. The Deathworlder Queen was not preparing an invasion. Protocol Evergreen was not awakening an empire. Sentinel-7 had not demanded surrender. Instead, humanity had revealed something infinitely more difficult for the galaxy to understand: preparation without conquest, power without domination, strength restrained by memory. For civilizations accustomed to measuring military capability through expansion, that philosophy was almost incomprehensible. The emergency session of the Galactic Assembly continued without interruption. Every representative watched the same live transmission from Erebus 9, the Queen standing peacefully beside Elias, the ancient sentinel, the autonomous guardians, the impossible ecosystem awakening beneath the mountain. No one could deny the evidence any longer. Humanity had possessed technologies beyond known science for centuries. Yet the stars remained unconquered. If domination had truly been humanity's goal, the opportunity had existed long before any other civilization achieved faster-than-light travel. The fact that they had not acted became the most unsettling revelation of all. Power restrained by choice always appeared more frightening than power restrained by weakness. Admiral Kesh finally requested direct communication with the surface. For several long moments, no one answered. Then Elias accepted the transmission. The human looked neither victorious nor defensive, only tired, as though he had expected this conversation for longer than anyone else could imagine. The Admiral spoke first. Did humanity deceive us? Elias considered the question carefully. No, you concealed entire civilizations. Yes, you hid military infrastructure across the galaxy. Yes, you created Deathworld colonies beyond assembly observation. Yes, every admission increased the tension aboard every listening vessel. Then Elias quietly asked a question of his own. Would you have allowed us to build them if we had asked? Silence answered. Not diplomacy. Not denial. Truth. No one aboard the assembly flagship could honestly say yes. The human nodded sadly. Exactly, Commander Jorvik, still standing beside Captain Sarek on Erebus 9, finally voiced what countless military officers across the galaxy were thinking. You expect us to trust you now? The Deathworlder Queen answered before Elias could. No, every eye turned toward her. We expect you to understand. There is a difference. She walked slowly toward the valley overlooking the endless forests. The great predators followed at a respectful distance. None attempted to walk beside her. None dared walk ahead. She looked less like their ruler than their eldest survivor. When I was young, her voice carried quietly across the valley. I'd believed strength meant defeating every enemy. She smiled faintly. The Deathworld corrected me. No one interrupted. It taught me that survival is rarely victory. She placed one hand upon an ancient tree whose roots disappeared into the living planet. Most of the time, she closed her eyes. Survival simply means there is someone left to remember. Those words reached every fleet. Every senator, every frightened civilian watching across known space. And something changed. Not agreement, understanding. The smallest beginning of it. Sentinel-7 stepped forward. Blue light surrounded the ancient construct as countless orbital satellites synchronized above the atmosphere. The Assembly believes Protocol Evergreen exists to preserve humanity. He looked toward the stars. That assumption is incomplete. A new projection filled the sky. It expanded far beyond the galaxy itself. Ancient observations, distant galaxies, collapsed civilizations. Impossible phenomena beyond known cosmology. Regions where stars simply stopped existing, not exploding, not dying naturally, vanishing. The projection zoomed farther outward. Entire stellar civilizations disappeared from history without leaving recognizable ruins. The pattern repeated across cosmic time, again, and again, and again. Captain Sarek whispered, "What are we looking at?" Sentinel-7 answered with absolute honesty. "We do not know." The valley became perfectly silent. Even humanity did not possess every answer. That realization somehow made them seem both smaller and infinitely greater. For thousands of years they had prepared not against a known enemy, but against uncertainty itself. The Sentinel continued. Our ancestors reached one unavoidable conclusion. Another ancient recording appeared. Human scientists arguing long into the night, some exhausted, others terrified. One sentence survived the passage of millennia. If extinction has visited the universe before, it will return. No one knew what extinction they feared. No surviving record identified an invader. No weapon. No plague, no cosmic intelligence. Only evidence that civilizations disappeared in ways natural evolution failed to explain. Evergreen had never been designed to defeat certainty. It had been designed to survive mystery. The Assembly's greatest philosopher, Representative Lethus, requested permission to speak. For decades she had opposed humanity's military expansion. Now her voice carried unexpected humility. If the danger remains unknown, she paused, how do you know you have prepared correctly? Elias smiled. We don't. The answer surprised everyone. We never expected certainty. Then what do you expect? The human looked toward the children-sized footprints preserved in the valley. Another chance. There it was. The difference between humanity and the galaxy. Other civilizations demanded guarantees before acting. Humans acted because guarantees rarely existed. Hope to humanity was never confidence. Hope was preparation despite uncertainty. Commander Jorvik lowered his weapon completely. The gesture seemed insignificant. It was not. Among the Koru, involuntarily lowering a weapon before a potential enemy symbolized something older than peace. It symbolized respect. I still disagree with what you built. Elias nodded. I know. I still believe secrecy breeds fear. I agree. Jorvik hesitated. But I no longer believe fear alone explains your choices. For the first time, the human smiled without sadness. That's enough. Captain Sarek then asked the question that had quietly haunted all of us. What happens now? Sentinel-7 looked toward the horizon where countless hidden structures continued awakening beneath forests and mountains. Now, blue light slowly faded from the ancient construct. Humanity stops hiding. Across the galaxy, the consequences began immediately. Assembly restrictions upon Terran exploration were suspended, not because suspicion vanished, because suspicion required conversation rather than silence. Joint scientific expeditions formed to study forgotten Deathworld colonies. Hidden civilizations protected under Evergreen gradually revealed themselves. Some accepted diplomatic contact. Others chose to remain isolated. Humanity honored both decisions. Military doctrines throughout known space underwent complete revision. No longer was resilience measured only through weapons. Adaptability, redundancy, psychological endurance, ecological sustainability, these became equally important. Entire academies rewrote their curriculum. Children across dozens of worlds studied the strange species that planted gardens beside volcanoes and built homes beneath impossible skies. The phrase, Deathworlder, slowly transformed. Once it meant danger, now it also meant survivor. Months later, I returned to my own people. The Villari welcomed me home with the quiet ceremonies reserved for explorers believed permanently changed. They were correct. No report I submitted resembled the assignment I had originally accepted. I did not write about hidden weapons. Though they existed, I did not focus upon impossible technology. Though it surpassed imagination, instead, I wrote about philosophy, about civilizations shaped by comfort. And one civilization shaped by catastrophe. I described children learning courage beside storms. Families rebuilding after disasters instead of abandoning them. Scientists refusing to separate compassion from preparation. I admitted something I once considered impossible. Humanity had not evolved beyond fear. They had evolved alongside it. Years later, my report became mandatory reading throughout the assembly. Not because every conclusion proved correct, but because one observation refused to disappear. I had written, the galaxy mistook resilience for aggression because it had forgotten the difference between surviving hardship and seeking conflict. The sentence spread farther than I ever intended. Some criticized it, others embraced it. History would decide which interpretation endured. As for Erebus 9, the quarantine remained. Not as a prison, as a sanctuary. Visitors arrived only through invitation. The great predators continued walking peacefully among the forests. The stone house remained exactly where it had always stood. Its garden continued blooming beneath impossible skies. Children laughed there again. Human, alien, no one found that strange anymore. The Deathworld had become a classroom once more, teaching the same lesson it always had. Life becomes strongest not when suffering is worshipped, but when suffering fails to erase kindness. I often thought about the Queen. The galaxy had spent centuries fearing her. Yet the memory that stayed with me was astonishingly ordinary. One quiet evening, as the sun disappeared beneath Erebus IX's black mountains, I watched her kneel beside a small flowering plant damaged during the planet's awakening. She carefully replanted it, one leaf at a time. The woman capable of commanding living mountains chose to save a single fragile flower. Perhaps that explained humanity better than any archive ever could. The strongest hands still remembered how to protect gentle things. Before I departed, Elias gave me an object, a weathered notebook. Its pages contained no military secrets, no technological marvels, only handwritten observations collected across centuries, recipes, children's drawings, pressed flowers, weather notes. Stories of ordinary people surviving extraordinary days. On the final page, one sentence appeared in faded ink. Civilizations are not remembered because they refused to fall. They are remembered because they kept helping one another stand again. I have carried those words ever since. Even now, one mystery remains unanswered. Far beyond the edge of map space, the Ark network still listens. Occasionally, without warning, Sentinel-7 receives a transmission from beyond every known human colony. The signal carries no language, no coordinates, no identifiable source, only a repeating pattern older than every recorded civilization. Each time it arrives, the Queen quietly looks toward the darkness between galaxies, and each time, she whispers the same words. Not yet. No one knows what she means. Not Elias, not the Assembly. Not even Sentinel-7. Perhaps one day humanity's greatest preparation will finally be tested. Perhaps the unknown extinction that haunted their ancestors still waits somewhere beyond the horizon of the stars. Or perhaps the greatest lesson of all is that no civilization is ever truly finished preparing. When I first came to Erebus IX, I believed I was studying the most dangerous species in the galaxy. I left believing something entirely different. Humanity's greatest achievement was never its strength, never its hidden technology, never its impossible death worlds. It was the stubborn refusal to surrender hope, even after building entire civilizations around the expectation that disaster would eventually return. That resilience inspired awe. It also inspired fear, because resilience cannot be conquered in the same way as territory. It survives, it adapts, it remembers, and sometimes it quietly waits for everyone else to catch up. The galaxy would spend generations debating whether humanity had been justified in hiding the Evergreen Doctrine, engineering Deathworld sanctuaries, and preparing for an unknown future. Those debates would never truly end. But one truth endured beyond politics, beyond fear, and beyond history itself. The stars did not become safer because humanity existed. They became more prepared. And perhaps in a universe where certainty has always been an illusion, that was the greatest gift the Deathworlders could ever leave behind. Thank you for joining this journey through Deathworlders HFY Sci-Fi. If this story made you question what true strength really means, share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with fellow science fiction fans. What do you believe the galaxy truly feared? Humanity's violence, or its will to survive?